Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines: NFTs, the XRP Ledger, and breaking news about hooks. You're going to want every single bit of it. We got the World Bank Ripple case update, Stuart Alderati, Hillary Clinton, and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, I just want to take a second and thank Cryptographics for making this fresh new overlay for me around the video. It looks amazing, and I hope you go to digperspectives.com and join the Freedom Zone. It's unbelievable what we're doing in there. We're having such a blast, or I know I am for sure. Listen, there's some of the smartest people you're going to run into in there, and there's a private Telegram group you can be a part of, as well as being inside the Patreon and getting extra content and no Google ads. I tell you, it is a great place to hang, no doubt. Right now, $1.94 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is up 2.3%. Right now, Bitcoin is knocking on $50,000 door. We're going to keep an eye on it throughout the day. 2,500 plus for Ethereum, 96.3 billion plus for market cap of Tether. XRP is at 52 cents, off by 3% on a 24-hour and up 5.1 on the 7-day. The range of price, 51 cents on the bottom, 52, almost 53 cents on the top. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's get started. This is a fresh reminder here that a $20.1 trillion surge in the U.S. national debt is incoming, says the Congressional Budget Office, known as the CBO. As billionaire Paul Tudor Jones warns, a debt bomb is ticking when it comes to the United States national debt. I wanted to start here. And listen, you guys know I've said it, Miles Franklin, precious metals, get some physical gold in your hands, use Glint, get physical gold allocated to you on a MasterCard debit card. You can have it on an app on your phone. It's your gold. These things matter when I see signals like this, real information that tells me, okay, I'm going to want to have something that can deal with this fallout once it hits. Should it hit, and it does feel like at some point it's going to come home to roost. So I wanted to start there, and then I wanted to remind people, according to a report from Whale Alert, staggering 100 million XRP valued at $52.6 million were transferred to an unknown wallet to Ripple, and it wasn't me, so we've eliminated that. And then I wanted to share this number because there's so much negative sentiment out here right now currently, and certainly in the XRP space and the broader in the crypto space. And I wanted to share this because I thought this was a staggering number. And it was from the quarterly report just recently released a few days ago from Ripple. The number of NFTs, non-fungible token mints on the XRP Ledger surged by more than 400% in 2023 of Q4. Now, what's incredible to me about this is that we know that the NFT market's been down, right? So to me, this is a huge sign of where NFTs are going to go when this market comes back. Look, obviously we saw the example with NFTs and art images and things of that nature, but there are so many more applications like real estate, titles, and you can just go on, patents, intellectual property. The list literally goes on and on at how NFTs can serve in a very positive way, no doubt about it. So I think we're going to see nothing but big things, certainly in the coming days in the future. Sparks flew this week at the Bloomberg New Economy Forum as political heavyweight Hillary Clinton squared off against crypto advocate Mike Novogratz, the CEO of Galaxy Digital, over the fate of the U.S. dollar. And this is what Hillary Clinton had to say.
And then one more area that I hope nation states start paying greater attention to is the rise of cryptocurrency. Because what looks like a very interesting and somewhat exotic effort to literally mine new coins in order to trade with them has the potential for undermining currencies, for undermining the role of the dollar as the reserve currency, for destabilizing nations, perhaps starting with small ones, but going much larger. So when we think about this new environment in which we find ourselves that we've been discussing for the last some minutes, we can't just think about nation states.
All right, so that's her take on it. And I could go I could go very long about how much I don't care for that woman or the entire family there. Certainly the stuff that they've done. And then when I get done there, I could go on to the Bush family, so that it's not a right or left thing. But quickly here, believe it or not, Mike Novogratz has a great response. He said the only thing that can undermine the dollar as a reserve currency is reckless spending by both parties. That period, full stop. And then he goes on to say Trump and Biden have normalized huge deficits and have put us into the worst fiscal crisis of my lifetime. Don't blame Bitcoin. It's a report card on fiscal responsibility. Listen, there is some real weight here to that statement. But however, here's the danger with Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. Because it was designed to be outside of the financial system and to be anti-government, anti-establishment, I believe that's why you have seen the introduction of Bitcoin spot ETFs. And certainly the futures ETFs that were introduced a few years ago. And the reason I think that those things were introduced is, as they did with the futures ETFs for Bitcoin, they popped the bubble on Bitcoin by introducing the futures. And it was intentionally done, according to Chris Giancarlo. They knew why they were doing it. So the question is that introducing these products on top of something like Bitcoin really gives Wall Street, ultimately over time, the control over this asset at some point. And that is concerning in itself. Now, there's a whole host of other things, but I'm not going to get my needle stuck on that. I want Bitcoin to make it through. I just want to get some of these, there's a few gray areas. Let's find out exactly who the Satoshis are. Make sure they're not tied to bad actor states like North Korea or Russia or some other, China or some other state, right? Let's get those answers, and then I'll feel a lot better about all of it. And I'm sure a lot of you will as well. So here's this. Charles Gasparino shared a few days ago, because Stuart Alderoty's been on a heater. I got to celebrate this guy. When Charles Gasparino came out and said the SEC bracing for a major exodus, of senior enforcement lawyers leaving because of the way that things have been handled from the SEC overseeing crypto assets in the cyber unit, they're seeing that mass exodus start to happen there. Stuart Alderoty said, will any of these lawyers be brave enough to blow the whistle and share details about Gensler's controversial leadership with the SEC's Office of Inspector General or with the House Committee in Oversight Accountability? How about that? That's a real good question. That's a very good question. Seeing Stuart be this strong the way he is on social media with these comments, it really, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but, it makes me feel like, it's not really sounding like somebody who cares to negotiate, right? So maybe something's already figured out there with Ripple, or not. Maybe that's more of doubling down on just how bad a guy Gary Gensler really is. And that's believable too. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Smart contracts could be coming to the XRP Ledger as hooks are being repurposed to go live on the native XRP Ledger. How about that one? We will look to learn more information as it develops, but that is exciting. Look, we're talking about functionality. I want to remind everybody right now, think about clawbacks, which was just brought and amended to the Ledger. Remarkable. Strictly for the issuance of CBDCs and stablecoins so they can claw transactions back. And who does those things? Payment providers, financial institutions. They're gearing up to serve the entire financial institution, right, and industry. And then don't forget about automated market makers. Yes, there was a bug, but it was very quickly found, and it's already been submitted with the fix, and then they're going to make sure that it's working, and then they will begin to vote again. But here's the good news about that. We already know that the vote to have it approved is already there because we saw it happen. So once this bug is cleared, we should be cleared to see the automated market makers brought to the ledger in the near term as well. Exciting stuff that's happening. Then think about all the different products out here like ETFs. You know, I certainly believe that we're going to see thousands of ETFs just like we're seeing thousands of cryptocurrencies. And who knows what it means for the United States. Will we be able to continue to get these assets directly as United States citizens and retail investors in the long term? Or is it the idea of Gary Gensler that he really push all of this stuff into offering the ETFs for these products and then shoving the assets and the exchanges offshore? I don't know. I just know that he is absolutely not right to be a leader in this space, and he's got to go. But with that, I do believe at some point in the future we will see XRP ETFs here in the United States, just like I think we're going to see, you know, XLM and XDC and all kinds of other crypto ETFs, not just Bitcoin or Ethereum. And then we know Ethereum's got to have some clarity, by the way, too, right? Then there's this from Purist. This is something to really watch out for, and this is not the first time we've reported this, so we're just touching it again because it's here and it's so close. And it's the XRP about to explode. Ripple partner Purist has been working very hard to usher in more developers, investors, and banks to the XRP ledger by bringing the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, and making it interoperable, the two networks interoperable with each other. And this is going to pull more functionality, more interoperability, and draw more liquidity, I believe, off of Ethereum, which is centrally controlled by China and JP Morgan, right? So, you know, these things matter. So, you know, how this goes and how long all of that, you know, there's a lot to be determined. Not to mention the fact that Fred Rispoli forced the SEC to answer in clarity that they have not made a decision about whether Ethereum is or is not a security. But Prometheum, the digital asset platform that has been blessed and given the coveted special purpose broker-dealer license by Gary Gensler, Prometheum CEO Aaron Kaplan has said they're going to list Ethereum as their first asset and they're going to do it as a security. The plot thickens. If that happens, could we see a mass exodus off of Ethereum because of such a thing? And if so, is the XRP ledger poised to bring it all on board? Then we know just a week or so ago, we heard the gentleman from Arch Axe from back at Ripple Swell this past year. The CEO, Graham Rodford, said that by 2025, there will be, in his eyes, he said 30 to 50 trillion trading volume on the XRP ledger. And that could equate to a $900 XRP. But the reason I'm showing it is because we're not there yet, obviously. But in order to get there, I have been saying we need legislative and regulatory clarity. I have been saying payments first. I have not been saying that it is the only thing that Ripple is working on. David Schwartz has said that payments have been hard to do, I'm paraphrasing, with banks because they've acted like they're not interested. But the reason they've been acting like they're not interested is we go to Brad Garlinghouse because Brad Garlinghouse told us the Office of Comptroller of Currency, Brian Brooks' former office that he headed up, the OCC told Brad Garlinghouse, his words, he said that after the judgment was cleared that XRP was not a security, the banks told him that the OCC said they can't move forward. So in order for us to have all of the beautiful things that we know that this technology and innovation can bring us, tokenization, institutional DeFi, stable coins, CBDCs, all the rest of it, it all comes down to what custody, the foundational block of how you get all of this done. How are you going to get all this moving? You need regulatory clarity. You need legislative clarity, because every one of those things are about payments. People custody millions and billions of dollars because they need to make payments, and it needs to be in a safe place. People want tokenization so they can make payments faster. People want institutional DeFi so they can make a loan and make payments and spend the money, invest the money. All of this comes back to that. And it's just, it's a shame that we see so much negative sentiment. But I want to play this clip for you. It's not long at all, but I want you to hear what this gentleman says from the World Bank.
Is to think about what to do with the private sector. There is a lot to be done with them. We've created a private sector lab, which is helping us understand what we can do better to help them put trillions to work in these countries. I think that's going to be mission critical
to put trillions to work in these countries with the private sector. But listen to what he says.
What we do. We cannot rely on government balance sheets and multilateral development balance sheets only to get this done.
That's right.
So how do you incentivize and de-risk that for the private sector?
So there's a series of things that they talk to us about. And the first one really is, if you really want me as a private investor to put money to work in a country, I need to have some degree of regulatory policy certainty.
Regulatory policy certainty. If you want me to put all this money in this space, what did you say?
To put money to work in a country, I need to have some degree of regulatory policy certainty.
There it is. There it is.
And it's shocking how often they don't get that.
Exactly.
So I think, therefore, one of the tasks, and the bank is good at working with countries on providing regulatory policy clarity. It doesn't get done in a hurry. It takes years.
That's right.
It takes discipline and dedication, but it's a very important part. And I give the example very often of how in India, as an example, Prime Minister Modi in his first term said, I'm going to go to 30% renewable by 2030. By setting that out and by creating a certain sets of regulatory policies, not everything that the private sector wanted was what he did. He has his own trade-offs to make. But he made a certain set of announcements. Today, India's installed capacity is at 40%. The generated capacity is still not at 30 because they still have to complete the technology and the connectivity to the grid for some of that capacity. But they've got 6 years to go. They will get there. The power of regulatory clarity is second to none.
The power of regulatory clarity is second to none. And that's why so many projects have jumped off of Ethereum, because Ethereum got a fake free pass. We're looking for a legitimate, legal clarity, right? For the entire space, not just Ripple, not just XRP. I want to see it for the entire space, so we all understand how to invest in this space and put our money certain places and understand what the risks are. Right now, we don't fully understand that because we don't have the regulatory clarity. So we're guessing to a great degree. But you know what we're not guessing on is that it's going to take payments, because people tokenize things because they need to make payments and they want to do it faster and they want to do it digitally, right? So at the end of the day, payments. Whether the banks are hot about it because a regulator told them they can't, regulatory certainty is what we need. Keep listening. This guy's got it, man.
For a private sector investor. The second part is the political risk guarantees that you might still need over and beyond that. That's where the World Bank can be useful.
Okay.
We have institutions called MEGA inside the bank that does this. We're today doing about $6 to $7 billion a year of guarantees. Our ambition is to get to 3 times that number by 2030. The third big issue is foreign exchange. So if you're investing in dollars and yen and you're going to get paid in local currency, and typically a renewable energy project is a 20, 30-year investment, that's a large unhedged exposure. To try and get past that is some of the work we are currently doing, saying, can we be part of that solution? So can the private sector investor take the first risk? Can the country, which is receiving the money, take some portion of the risk beyond and foreseen amount? And then for the tail risk, which nobody could calculate, can we step in and absorb it?
There it is. There it is. The private sector's got to take the innovation risk without having the clarity. Then at some point, once they see the benefits of it, the countries have to step in from the other side and accept some responsibility and provide that clarity. Who's responsible at what point of the leg of this digital journey? Is it my fault that the payment didn't go through, or is it your fault that it did? And then there's the World Bank sitting back and saying, and for anything that we haven't found through all of this, the risk that something very wrong could go on, the World Bank has to understand what risk they may be willing to take on for any shortfall of not being able to understand every bit of the pros and cons of moving to a new digital system like this. This is where we are. And it's very frustrating to be here and to be this close, but this is where we are.
So there are ways to do this in a way that de-risks not the natural risk which the private sector should bear, but the unpredictable risk to get them over the edge to bring the money in.
There you go, to get them over the edge, to bring the money in. The private sector should make the risk because that's what innovation and that's what VCs do. They invest in new ideas, new growth, get out in front of industry that's a growth industry like this, and they take those chances, and they should not be protected because that's what investment and risk is all about. That particular portion's on you. It's on me. It's on all of us. It's on Ripple to invest the way that they do and the way other companies do. This, to me, this gentleman has just said exactly where we are. And as I've always said, this is why the Ripple case is so very, so very, very important. Because it's going to be that clarity that we need, that absolute clarity. We're not talking about an email. We're talking about moving money, and in some instances, very, very large amounts of money. There has to be absolute legal clarity in that regard, and legislative and regulatory. Right here is a reminder, Ripple versus SEC, upcoming key dates for the XRP lawsuit, March 13, 2024, deadline for the SEC to file its remedy-related brief, April 12th. Is the deadline for Ripple to file its opposition to the SEC remedy-related brief. And April 19th is the deadline for the SEC to file its reply, if any, to the Ripple opposition brief. A ruling is expected in this summer. Remember, David Schwartz has said it is possible, right? There's a possibility that this case could end in 2024. I hold out glass half full around here. That's the way we like to do it until we know otherwise. Glass half full. Right now, it's the Freedom Zone, ladies and gentlemen. We're going in there. I hope you'll join us. digperspectives.com. Come on in and join us. If you just want to support the channel, it costs almost nothing. And I tell you this, you got a private Telegram group in there. I'm going to put that link up in the top of the feed so you guys can find it. And there's no Google ads. You're going to love what's going on in here and some of the smartest people you'd ever want to be around. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.